prices were moved up. We will fight, we will reduce a bit, before we finish celebrating, we will move it again. I think Nigerians have to accept and at least commend this government that, let me say why, that for the first time in 5 years, in fact, it is on record that the last president who increased prices was the one before Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua never increased the price, he only reduced it, and of course Jonathan has left it where he met it. It never happened before now. And because of that time lag of not moving incrementally, the figures have become what it is. Yet, talking practically, because leadership is not a popularity contest. We must be sure of what we want to achieve. We must find the courage to do what we have to do. And I do not want my colleagues in Labour to be shocked by the views I'm going to express. The truth of the matter is, and I will put it to the heart, besides petroleum price, which other price has remained what it was 5 years ago? Can we therefore, as rational human beings, conclude that there are certain forces that could have guaranteed stable 70 to 65 naira price for change? Yes, every other price in the system has been changing. So obviously, I think that you can't argue that every other thing can change except this price. There is no economic principle, whether by reference to the level of inflation or even worse, the level of devaluation of the naira. Because in real terms, the figures have actually changed. My other thing is that now somebody said comrade that change. No, I don't change. This I share. What appeals to me as a young union leader about state ownership is the fact that I understood as a man who wanted a perfect society, but it is not fair for few to pocket what Karl taught us to be the surplus value that was created by all of us, and then the majority of us just go home with our wages. That I found very, very attractive. That why should few pocket the surplus? And so we must fight for a just, egalitarian society. But let's look at the part of the Nigerian condition. Just last week, I was saying, and this is not the first time, I was a member of the National Council on Privatization against the wish of some of my colleagues in the NNC. I told them, just like Issa said, one drug can't fit or cure all ailments. By the same logic, what works elsewhere may not work here if other things are not the same. And therefore, in designing policies that are Nigeria specific, those policies must flow from our understanding of the behavioral pattern of the Nigerian elite. If we do not, we will be designing ideal theories that may not have valid application. I said to our colleague when I was in the NNC, somebody said, I support the privatization of NEPA. And they said, why should I do so? My deputy was from NEPA. And I said, I do so because in truth, we can't carry this joke much longer. As president of the NNC, I have responsibility for economy-wide job creation. I'm looking at all the potentials of the economy and not necessarily a particular sector. And I argue at the peak of my own anger, I said, it makes economic sense for me as president of the NNC to preside over the retrenchment in the PACN, if that is what it will mean. If in the end, that will lead to more job creation in the textile, in the plastic, in the automobile, in the chemical, and all the other sectors. So if we destroy 20,000 jobs in one sector and create 10 million jobs in another sector, economy-wide overall, we should be better off. And in any case, in my own trade union literature, I understand as the world moves on and become a global village, and the rate of change is such that the only thing that will cause that is change. I understood that for workers to remain employable, they must be multi-skilled. So that when they launch up in one sector, then move to another sector. Because industry is not a tribe that you are born into, you live in it, you die in it, your children come to inherit it. It is not so. We must keep moving. And therefore, in terms of policy choices, we must look at what are those policy instruments we need to put in place so that overall job possibilities in the economy will keep increasing, even as some sectors are dying, new sectors will be emerging. If we take a static view, overall we will be presiding over joblessness. Today, as I understand the figures, I wasn't present when the Minister of Finance spoke. The situation that President Goodluck is facing is far more complicated than the one before him. Today, it is not about if I have 200 billion naira more, I could do 10 extra kilometers of road. What I understand from the figures I have seen is that crisis, one way or the other, is imminent. And therefore, the choice before the president, and any of us, if we were privileged to be there, is to say, if I go left, I will be stoned. If I go right, I will be stoned. Some stone will have the force of bullets, and therefore the end will be terminal. The other stone will inflict pain. But if I survive, I won't be able to make up for this car. And those who stone me, I might in the end deliver a level of comfort that they might in their private church. So ask God to forgive for stoning the man for the wrong reasons. I think those are the choices. Just 2 minutes and I'm done. You know, when I arrived at those state, the expectations were very high. A union man in company. But the international economic environment was at its worst. Our total receipt from the national account crashed to 1.6 billion naira, and yet my wage bill was on average of 2 billion. And some people said to me, comrade, you have to just transparently explain why you will not be able to build schools, build roads, provide health care, and the rest of it. After all, it is not your fault. Everybody knows that the world economy is in crisis. You know my response? I said, in my union training, a leader is supposed to be able to find solutions to challenges and not to lament why things won't work. My business is to see what I can do differently. And when I looked inward, I saw that one of the things I had to do was to ask workers, my own people, that comrades, you're going to have to pay tax. And they said, no. No, before you even ask. You, who is our wife? And I said, if you don't pay taxes, you shouldn't have elected a poor man like me as a governor, because you had no reason to assume that I will use my father's savings to build the road. If I had said so, you won't believe me. So what I offer is that when you have paid your tax, I will manage judiciously. And people told me I'm going to be unpopular, and I said yes. In real world of leadership, there are two options. At what stage does the leader want to be popular? Popular in the morning, because people think you will soon deliver. Good luck, came in, fresh air. That was fine. If it does nothing, it is still fresh air. But as the sun begins to rise, and there is no air conditioning, in many cases, not in AC, so you won't have air conditioning. And when it's getting warmer and the fresh air is disappearing, people will begin to cry. When it gets heated in the evening, they will begin to stone him. So he has to choose. At the morning, should I lock the windows, keep the fresh air out, warm up the system, get the people to get up, because when it is too warm, they won't be able to sleep comfortably. And everybody is trying to find solutions, but just get some things happening. So that those who will then abuse you in the morning, when in the evening things begin to work, they might clap you out of state. But it is not possible that from the morning to the end, that your popularity rating is 100%. It's never going to work. So So I think the issue for us, the issue for me is, can Nigeria, from the figures that we have seen, I talked of Minister and said, if I tell a man, as you know I have said so, the Minister will confirm. I believe that there are a couple of people who are candidates for prison and who are working freely. But if the world was ideal, the first thing to do is to open the gate and put those guys to prison. But I know that it is easier to say it. Maybe you try so hard. You know your frustrations with the system. Getting criminals in prison and getting innocent people like us out of prison. You know how hard you have to work. But you see, I believe that those involved in this business, those involved in it, the Nigeria system is not capable of handling them. I gave this example to NEPA workers last week. I said, a man goes to buy a Mercedes-Benz, he puts a driver on the car to drive it. This car is capable of doing 200 kilometers per minute, but this driver, for one reason or the other, is delivering on 10 kilometers per minute. And then when they place him, we brought another driver, we thought he's better trained, he's doing 6. And then we check, we bring another one in 3, 4. And then the next one says, no, the car is bad, bring a new Mercedes. And then we bring a Lexus. But you see, because the guy has his own limitations, he just can't deliver on the full capacity. My conclusion, Honorable Minister and Comrade, is that don't push people to do what they are simply incapable of doing. I've said to colleagues, when we take over and we have the will, we can revise some of these decisions. But for now, those in the system are not in a position to do the kind of things that we should do to clean up the system. Therefore, in Edo State, I believe, if this process is cleaned out and we have X billion extra, we can deliver on appropriate wages,